This is a very special day and a very special occasion. We begin program of this afternoon with an inaugural song to be rendered by Amitabh Basu.
আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে, এ জীবন পুণ্য করো, এ জীবন পুণ্য করো, এ জীবন পুণ্য করো, এ জীবন পুণ্য করো দহন দানে। আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে, আমার এই দেহ খানি তুলে ধরো, তোমার ওই দেবালয়ে প্রদীপ করো, আমার এই দেহ খানি তুলে ধরো, তোমার ওই দেবালয়ে প্রদীপ করো। নিশিদিন আলোক শিখা জ্বলুকানে, নিশিদিন আলোক শিখা জ্বলুকানে। আগুনের পরশমণি ছোঁয়াও প্রাণে।
Respected Chairperson Professor Isha Muhammad, who, as you know, is the President of the Asiatic Society, Honorable Guest of Honor Dr. Kunal Sarkar, who needs no introduction to this audience. Just now he himself declared if he is surgeon by 75%, he is historian 25%. I said the other way around. Distinguished council members, members of the society, guests, and dear citizens of the area. As I have already mentioned, this is a very special day and a very special occasion. As you know, in our long 236 years of journey since 1794, we have been pursuing primarily our research activities in three broad domains: in history, science, and arts, as was outlined by its founder, President Sir William Jones. And since then, until now, we have been pursuing in very many areas of introspection. And way before 2016 in December, on 15th and 16th, we had organized an international seminar on understanding autism. And our medical science secretary, Dr. Shobit Dotto, who unfortunately is not present today because of his incapacity due to certain surgical intervention, but we will hear him over the screen in a short while from now. He, along with one joint coordinator, Mitu De, she is present here. We had organized this seminar, and as a result of that seminar, a book has been brought out, which will be released today here by Dr. Kunal Sarkar. And it so happened that the second day of the seminar coincided with a very important historical date. That day, the Parliament of India declared, or they passed the bill for physically disabled persons, which became a question of right, for which there was a great fight going on. And on that occasion, they also extended the areas of coverage of disabilities. Initially it was 7, then multiplied into 21, on which autism was also included in that. So that is the connectivity of that occasion with today's function. And Dr. Dotto, who has taken keen interest in spite of his advanced advanced age and failing health in organizing very many such important seminars during his tenure, and he's still with us. Since he could not make it, we thought we will take an interview of Dr. Dotto, which will be just telecast right now on the importance or the occasion of today's function and also on the book itself. So may I now request.
I am grateful to our President, Professor Isha Muhammad, General Secretary Dr. Shottobroto Chakraborty, Treasurer Dr. Sujit Das, and Publication Secretary Dr. Ramakrishna Chatterjee, and other staff of the society who have permitted me and helped me to edit this volume. This compilation is based mainly on the proceeding of a 2-day international conference, Autism Spectrum Disorder, Life in the Mainstream, held on 15th and 16th December 2016, jointly organized by the Asiatic Society, Autism Society West Bengal, and Mental Health Foundation, Kolkata. This type of conference is first of its kind in West Bengal, where the focus of the conference was on adults with ASD. ASD is a complex lifelong neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by triad of impairment: social communication, in social interaction, and in impairment of imagination. This term spectrum refers to the wide variation in challenges in each one with autism. Companies are finding out that adults with autism can be good employees, and by nature they are honest and love to work. Mrs. Indrani Bose, Dr. Mrs. Mitu De, and workers in this field from abroad, along with self-advocates, participated in this presentation. It is a happy coincidence that the Parliament passed Rights of Persons with Disability, RPWD, and that was on 16 December 2016. So now autism has been officially recognized as a disability in India. So long, autism was placed under the category of psychiatric disorder, but now it is a definite disability. So I think I must thank the staff and the committee member, including President, for allowing me to present this at my residence, because I am quite aged and at the same time I am not well. I had recently a sort of stroke, so that I can't walk properly. So that is why I had to put you in trouble. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
So friends, you have got the clear message of the context of this function. And it was a collaborative project with Mental Health Foundation and Autism Society. And when they proposed this time that they would also like to extend a unique program in collaboration with the Asiatic Society, that is the display of art pieces that have been done by the autistic children, and in a short while from now it will be formally inaugurated by our president. But before that we will go for the inauguration of the book and speech by the guest of honor. But I would, prior to that, request one of the associate editor or coordinator of the program, Dr. Mitude, to please speak a few words on the book.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests. It's an honor being here, and I'll just take a few minutes to talk about this book and more so about the making of this book, because you'll have a book discussion later on. So what we felt that society of late is becoming quite aware of disabilities, different marginalized groups, and different situations which people face. And this awareness is there. But what we feel, the hindrance towards acceptance and lending out a supporting hand is understanding. Society sometimes, it's not that society doesn't want to help. It's society wants to help, reach out the hand, but they don't know how. Especially to this group of the autistic population, they are a spectrum. So everyone is different. So society does not know what to do. Should you make friends? Should you not make friends? Should you talk more? Should you talk less? So it's a confusion. So we feel that the journey towards understanding and acceptance is knowledge. Knowledge is empowerment. What better than a book about understanding autism? We are indebted to the Asiatic Society for coming forward and publishing this book, Understanding Autism, through the lenses of parents and professionals. Now, as a co-editor, it has been a learning journey for me. Through all the papers that are presented, I have learned a lot, because each one of them was with different perspective, different angles. So we got to know a lot, and I hope this understanding will spread to the masses. I'm absolutely sure with the historic Asiatic Society behind us, it will reach most of the libraries in India and maybe across the world. We really hope for that. And the exhibition, which will be inaugurated just a few minutes from now, you will get a chance to see the world from their views. We have four artists, of which two of them are very seasoned artists. And we have two budding artists, and we still have some more on this side of the wall, the students of diction, and many of the paintings were done with prompts, that is with help of their teachers. We hope that maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, some of them will have a place in society as an artist. We believe every person deserves to have valued social roles, because having a role in society gives acceptance and gives dignity to every person. So we present to you all the artists who are presenting in a different way, and also the book, which will get a different perspective in their lives, so that you can see the people as they are, not for their disability. You see the person. So it will be a wonderful journey ahead. So come with us, come to this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. De, for this brief introductory remarks. Now that happy moment, the book is going to be released by Dr. Kunal Sarkar. The book will be handed over to him by Trisha. I now request Dr. Kunal Sarkar to formally release it and on the occasion to speak a few words. Sir.
respected President, respected Secretary, I think this program, at the very outset, I have no doubt, will be extremely, extremely successful. The more I speak, the more I will probably make an exhibition of my ignorance, and hence, time will always follow the Newtonian principle of being inversely in relationship to the content. I was in great awe and respect of Madam Day and Mr. Doctor, who's taken a great pain to compile the proceedings of a seminar in form of a book. Because you see, we go to so many seminars and conferences, and words fly and ideas are exchanged, but many of them are like drops of water falling on land, which are there for only a period of time, and then probably they evaporate with not of much of memory left behind. Now, I have this bad sort of label stuck to me of being a kind of an amateur history addict. And as I was thinking, Sir mentioned over here, Asiatic Society, the name of William Jones comes to your mind. William Jones, I happened to visit the place where he was born, in Anglesey in North Wales. I think he was a Welsh, British polymath, one of the great polymaths of the mid-18th century. And William Jones, for a brief life of 45 years, he was a master of 20 languages. He had written exhaustively in about 7 of them, and he used to write Persian under a Farsi pseudonym. And as the life of William Jones was blossoming, there was another life somewhere in the midst of Europe, which was also blossoming and taking the world by a storm. The two lives almost coincided with one another, and that was the life of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So, though in very different parts of the world, if you look at it in that way, these two talents almost lived and breathed in history the same period of time. And Mozart, William Jones lived for 45 years, Mozart was alive only for 35. And it is said for the 35 years of Mozart's life, 17 years were only spent on the road, commuting between Salzburg and Vienna. And this person, who probably had every certified behavioral disorder that is known to mankind. I think if you read through any journal that alludes to historical behavioral disorders, then probably the first name that comes to mind is Mozart. But yet this man, being so different, being considered a kind of a sociopath, the man who could not even converse in a suitable way, was standing against, competing with the might of the composers of court like Salieri, etc. And the brilliance of Mozart is left behind for the world to see. The brilliance of people who have excelled in spite of having these behavioral issues or problems. The next person who comes to mind from the domain of music is the domain of English language. The person who gave us the embodiment of English language, Dr. Samuel Johnson. Dr. Samuel Johnson's biography was done by Boswell. So if you read Boswell's account of Samuel Johnson, the first man ever who painstakingly wrote down every word of the English language in the form of a dictionary. Without Samuel Johnson, you would not have the lexicography of the English language. It wasn't possible. Yet Samuel Johnson, by his contemporaries, was considered to be a behavioral and social misfit. So from music, we have language, the people who gave the origins of the English language on which 3/4 of world communication is based. The field of science. The field of science in the early 20th century was dominated by one of the least celebrated talents, the great Serbian scientist Nikola Tesla. If you remember Nikola Tesla, those of you are famous with him, a man in his brief life, he could not even open the door of his house and communicate with anybody face to face. Whenever it used to rain and used to have thunder and lightning, Nikola Tesla used to go and stand bare-chested, invite the electricity onto his body, because he was forever absolutely mesmerized by electricity, conduction, extrasensorial perception, and things like that. It is Nikola Tesla who fought with Thomas Alva Edison and invented the AC current as opposed to the DC current. So we've had people who, because of their behavioral problems, may not have been in communication with the mainstream of society, but at the same time, it is their singular brilliance, it is their singular contribution on which so much from music to language to science is based. If I look back on my area of work, on man's exploration through the heart, through the distance of the heart, there used to be a man in mid-Germany, in a little town called Scholzdale, by the name of Werner Frossmann. Werner Frossmann, in the year 1929, he was a young doctor. In those days, you could not have any investigation in the heart done apart from in the lab on a dead body, on a post-mortem. You could not put any cardiac catheters, etc. Nothing was possible. It was banned because it was considered to be too dangerous. Frossmann, who was again a complete social misfit and a misnomer, he used to make friends. He used to make friends with students and nurses. And he was not trying to do that because he was a Romeo or something. He was doing that because the first cardiac catheterization he did was on his girlfriend. He took that young girl at 2 o'clock at the night inside the German hospital, and without anybody knowing, the first time ever a catheter was put inside the human heart, and the world came to know that cardiac catheterization was possible. Werner Frossmann was certified mad. He was certified behaviorally unstable. He was chucked out of the hospital, never to practice clinical medicine before. And it was only 15 years later people realized the significance of the work he has done. The last surgeon ever to have won a Nobel Prize was a gentleman called Alexis Carrel. Alexis Carrel was a strange man. The reason he was strange was, you see, those days, in very early 1900s, medicine was the domain of the rich, a little bit like feudal India, you know. And in those days, no poor people ever studied medicine. Alexis Carrel was born of a single parent. His father had abandoned his mother, and his mother, not being educated, used to make a living by repairing torn clothes. We used to call them seamstresses. And this boy, who hardly had a friend, never communicated with anybody, but at the same time he was very good academically, was put into medical school by his mother in great financial difficulty. He went through medicine. He not only loved his mother, but he used to see his mother stitch clothes day and night in order to earn money, to put the bread on the plate. And that technique of stitching clothes that he saw in his mother, he applied it to vascular surgery. And that is how we learned the technique of stitching on the heart, of stitching on the blood vessels. And Alexis Carrel, who never had a friend in his life other than his mother, established the first techniques of cardiovascular surgery. The great Hippocrates, if you know, people say, have you taken the Hippocratic oath? I cannot take the Hippocratic oath because Hippocrates in his oath says, thou shalt not operate on the heart. It is the most dangerous thing to do in the world. They used to put you into jail if you ever cut anybody's heart and stitched it. That's in the body of the Hippocratic corpus. The Hippocratic corpus has 66 verses, right? So when you see in the next movie, you see, have you taken the Hippocratic oath? If any court asks me anywhere, I'll say no, because had I took the Hippocratic oath, I could never be a cardiac surgeon in my life, because Hippocrates told me not to do so. And this little poor son of a poor mother in early 1900 Paris, who was certified to be a behavioral social isolate, taught us how to do the trick. So in history, I am absolutely, profoundly and completely ignorant about the nuances of autism and behavioral disorder. But we've learnt a lot from people who did not conform to the so-called standards of normality, but yet we have a long way to go. And, in my line of work, you come to me with the pain in the chest, I will tell you, have an angio done, have an echo done, have an ECG done. But I really envy the work of people who are working in this area, in this domain, because you have no quick fix ECG, no echocardiogram, no angiography to give you the diagnosis at the snap of the finger. You have a tool to look into the human brain. You have a tool to look into the soul of a person, and that is the tool of human empathy. It is the tool of love. It is the tool of care. With every person who is dealing with these young children with behavioral problems, you have to access the people. Because look, today in our life, when you diagnose somebody with autism or a behavioral problem, it should not be another statistic. You are not looking at a statistic, you are looking at a valued life. And every valued life is like that little flower in the garden, which needs to be loved, which needs to be looked after, and which needs to be nurtured. Because it's that society that looks after the last child with problem that will truly respect its demographic dividend, and that should be the way forwards for a civilized nation. And we, as the lay people on this side, remain in debt of workers like of the Asiatic Society, who provide the platform for this kind of research and publication. We remain in debt of the people, like Professor Dotto and Professor De, who's compiled this great volume and work. And may more such work, more such academic chronicles be published from the Asiatic Society, because we can only enrich ourselves with knowledge. And look after these people, look after these children well, with all the care and all the love you give them, because who knows, there is a Mozart, there is a Johnson, there is a Tesla waiting to emerge from one of them. Thank you.
It's rather a happy occasion to discuss in a seminar about autism, which we don't know very much, especially me, until I met Dr. Shubir Kumar Datta 2 years back at a seminar on autism in our Asiatic Society at Vidyasagar Hall. And for the first time, Dr. Shubir Datta made me understand a bit what sometimes we do not know what autism is. Today, by coincidence, the opening song sung by my young friend here sitting over here, 2 years ago, he presented me a diary which he made from common diary by wrapping it with beautiful cover and all that. So what we can do, we can be more aware about it, and we have to be with it without any grievances, only sympathy and looking after sympathetically. The exhibition, as you see here displayed around us, is beautiful in one way that it is a raw emotion of a person who has no such malice or some other high thoughts behind it. It's a inner passion. And while I was looking through the works, I found that they are no less than any good piece of work ever created in the world, because it is the unspoiled mind that has created the works. And I may be permitted to tell that every human being have a few fundamental instinct or some sort of passion which are developed by encouragement. And for the persons, those are victims of autism, we can learn many things from them for the minds they have, which actually pushed them or inspired them to create such works. I find some works are exceptionally good, and that can be compared with many modern artists of the of today and the past.
We had this opportunity of doing a seminar which is not run-of-the-mill. By that I mean, usually it's very medical, it's very treatment-based and more like fixing. And when we said we wanted something, and the title was Life in the Mainstream, we really wanted to talk about individuals with autism living their lives and getting on with their lives and the possibilities. So it was a little different. And for Asiatic society to come forward and accept that, and we were really were absolutely blown over. We were very happy that we could do a seminar in Calcutta which talked about possibilities of looking at people with autism as people and just getting on with their lives. And when we were trying to look at the speakers, and there were such varied speakers from different areas, and it was very unlike the usual seminars that one goes to, especially when it is associated with a disability, which looks at the person as being all wrong and something has to be put right. But with this seminar, what happened was it looked at the person with autism as a person first, and what are the things that could happen for them. So for that, I'm really grateful to Asiatic Society, because I hope you realize what an amazing seminar that was, and what an amazing compilation of papers in this book. It's very unlike other books that you can get on autism. So thank you very much.
Asiatic Society to give us this opportunity, and the person who was instrumental in helping us to write this book and really badger particularly me into submitting and get the abstracts and the articles from everyone was Professor Shubit Dotto. He unfortunately is very unwell, and hopefully he will recover soon, but without his help it wouldn't have been possible.
This way or that way, in some disorder we have in our mind. If it do not fit with the society, you are misfit. So in that way, everybody, either in a little or in a big way, we are having some disorders. So we should keep in mind that we should not brand somebody autistic. We all are in that way, this way or that way. Or Jalseri was saying that I do not know how to use computer, and in that way some that is there. So I must say that we must be sympathetic, and there are the orders set up by the society sometimes do not fit us. So in that way, we should not brand somebody in that way. We must be sympathetic, and we must carry out with them so that we can make our society beautiful one. Thank you. Thank you.
Please join us tea, a cup of tea on the ground floor. So thank you, and the program is over.